and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your NASCAR home. My name is Kyle Robert. You follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me to break down the DraftKings slate, to talk updated betting boards with qualifying in the books, is Brian Twining. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Kyle? Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this night race tomorrow night. I mean, Bristol under the lights. Can't get any better. There's playoff spots on the line. Old man Kevin Harvick sits in last place. Like, he qualified inside the top 10. What are we going to get here? This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun race. It's gonna be an interesting race. It's gonna be I'm happy that they moved this to Saturday. You can watch it at the end of the day with the college football slate, and then have all of NFL on Sunday. So pretty pumped for it. Really excited to see what happens, and obviously the impact on the playoffs is gonna be crazy. So let's dive into DraftKings. Let's see if we can't make a nice lineup and win some money this week. Had a decent week, cashed all of our lineups last week, so that was good. We'll start above 10K, where we have 5 drivers to choose from. Denny Hamlin at 11.5, starting 4th. Chase Elliott, qualifying issues again, starting 23rd at 11.2. Kyle Larson, the number 5, starting 5th at 10.8. Kyle Busch starting 21st at 10.5, and Christopher Bell being priced up this week on DK.
Rightfully so.
10.2, starting 8th.
Yeah, let's just start with the fact that Christopher Bell is the only guy that's already locked into the playoffs. So he's on record today during qualifying. He was being interviewed, and he literally came out and said, because of that, he can take some risks that other guys cannot, which take that for what you will. But that to me tends to lead me to believe that he might be shooting so hard for a race win that he's probably going to have more contact than necessary and possibly wreck out.
Well, to me, it feels like if you have it locked in, you'd be playing it safe just to maximize points. But I guess that could make sense. Like, if he's right there and he can make a move, and even if it costs him falling back to 23rd, then he's going to make the move and see what happens.
Yeah, especially because another victory, that's just going to help him start even higher up in the next round. So I mean, he doesn't have to be as safe as other guys.
Let's hope Daniel Suarez is nowhere around him, because that could get messy once again. So I think obviously the 2 value options are Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott, 11.2, 10.5. Another poor performance on qualifying day for Mr. Kyle Busch. Do you want to trust either of these guys in your lineup, where what you're having to pay to get them in there?
The thing about Kyle Busch is after he spun out during practice, he looked very tentative during qualifying. So it makes me wonder, is this just a case of like he's not comfortable in the car at this track, or are we going to see an instance where they make so many adjustments that he comes out, balls to the wall tomorrow night and is like the fastest car on track, and he shows what he has in the past, being the active career wins leader at this track? Like, I don't know what to think of what's going on with Kyle Busch. And then, Chase Elliott, he looked terrible both runs, practice, qualifying. He just couldn't stick the car down low. I mean, Chevys in general didn't look great at all either.
Yeah. And then obviously we talked on Wednesday about Tuesday, I guess, how important starting in the front is in terms of having the ability to win the race. So Denny Hamlin 4th, Kyle Larson 5th, and Christopher Bell 8th all have a really good shot in terms of if you're looking for an early dominator and a person who could actually win the race. If you had to, we can steal a little game from the footballers, keep, trade, cut, Hamlin, Larson, and Christopher Bell. Who are you choosing? Who are you passing? And who are you putting into the garage?
Honestly, for me, based on salary alone, not about potential here, I'm going to keep Kyle Larson. I think the $700 savings is huge. I would probably trade Christopher Bell, and Denny Hamlin I would avoid. Just I I don't know. That 11.5 number is really difficult for me.
No.
I mean, I don't like betting favorites. I don't like going to the top of the board at DK. Yeah, it's just not.
We talked about him though so much on Tuesday and how excited we are for him this race, and then he
Yeah,
qualifies
like
well.
I got him on an outright, but
Yeah.
it's just hard to get there at that 11.5 number.
Yeah, no, it's a big number for sure. I mean, I probably would lean the same way as you, but the fact that we're both saying that makes me think maybe Denny Hamlin is the play, and we shouldn't
Yeah.
get so crazy. Let's dive into the next range, and we'll talk the 9K range. We got Tyler Reddick at 9.9, didn't qualify great. Martin Truex, I have an outright on him, 9.7, starting 22nd. Logano at 9.5, starting 15th. Chastain at 9.2 rounds out the 9K range. Once again, where are you leaning in this range, and who do you want to make sure finds a home in your lineup?
This is going to sound absolutely disgusting, and it's actually breaking my heart to say this, but Joey Logano at 9.5, starting 15th. He was the third fastest during practice.
Yeah.
Fords, mind you, have 7 of the top 11 qualifying positions, so they clearly have something here this weekend. His qualifying lap, I think he got loose coming out of one of the corners, which definitely ruined his run. So I think he's way better than a 15th place car.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, even looking at the very top of the board, he's probably my favorite play of anybody 9K or above.
Yeah,
It's
and the fact that you hate
disgusting.
the fact that you hate Logano as much as you do, and you're pounding the
Yeah.
table as your favorite play, tells you all you need to know. I think he is the name from this range. I also like Truex a lot. I thought he was going to run well, did not qualify well, but I think starting 22nd, I don't maybe obviously he's not going to win the race, or not likely to win the race, but if you can get a top 6 out of him, top 5, I think you'll be really happy. And that would be a nice return. We'll dive down into the next range where your guy Ryan Blaney starts us off at 8,900, starting 6. Good name to have on the card as well. Has a good chance at converting that. William Byron starting 16th at 87. Kevin Harvick starting 7th at 85. Bubba Wallace 83. Alex Bowman starting 3rd. Alex Bowman putting it together.
Good call, man.
82. And Daniel Suarez rounds out the 8K range, starting 29th at 8K. That's a pretty nice value.
Yeah, the one thing though is like both Trackhouse cars. I know Chastain qualified 12th, but neither of them looked great.
Yeah.
I said this when talking about Chase Elliott. Like outside of Bowman and Elliott, outside of Bowman and Larson, Chevys didn't look the greatest. I don't know what we're going to see actually during the race. So I mean, I kind of worry about what we're going to see out of Suarez. I honestly, I love Ryan Blaney coming into this week. I think this is as good a chance as ever to see him get a victory here. He's been great at the short tracks. I mean, he won at Martinsville. He ran great at Richmond earlier in the spring. So, I mean, I think he's somebody to consider for Dominator. But will he be starting 16th? Again, I know I just said the Chevys didn't run good, but this is a guy who's been great here. He finished 3rd last year after qualifying 14th. So he's been in the same position before. I think he's the guy who's coming on strong right now. He's finished top 10 in both of the first 2 playoff races. And I think he's somebody who could easily crack the top 10 and compete for a top 5. As we saw on the betting card, you already have him on a top 5 as your best bet. So,
and I think with Larson and Bowman both running well, they can get with their mechanics and say, okay, what are we missing here? What's the piece that's missing? So I think he makes sense. I think, loading up on this range is not a crazy, I don't even hate Blaney, Harvick, Bowman, Blaney as kind of your double dominator. Obviously they're going to run a ton of laps at Bristol. So having 2 guys starting near the front is a good place. And then you have, Byron's a tremendous value. And I don't even hate Bubba. He's taken tremendous strides as a driver this year. So I'm happy to get to him at 8.3.
Yeah.
We'll dive into the 7K range where we have Eric Jones starting us off 24th, 79. Austin Dillon 28th at 77. Chase Briscoe popped up and qualified 2nd, 7,600. Austin Cindric, the Ford, qualified 9th at 74. Ty Gibbs 25th at 72. And Mr. Pole Setter Eric Almapola on the number 1 spot at $7K. He looked good. He was strong. Do you dare use him as one of your dominator seats?
I mean, if you're playing a GPP and you want to get different than anyone else, he's probably not going to be rostered in very many lineups, considering where he's starting and the only place he can go is backwards.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had the greatest of runs of late coming into this weekend, but he does have a past history of performing well here. Not a recent past, but he had been pretty good at Bristol before. So, I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think he could stay inside the top 10. And like I said, I'm going to say it again. The Fords looked absolutely fantastic. Chase Briscoe qualifying second, Austin Cindric qualifying ninth. I mean, this could be one of those races where Ford absolutely dominates and Almirola just stays up front the entire race because he's not having to deal with all the dirty air and the beating and banging.
Yeah, and I'm looking, if you want to save salary, because if you're gonna look at, obviously Elliott, Kyle Busch, Truex, Logano, even Tyler Reddick, like they're all starting pretty far back. So if you want to load up on this range in terms of guys that can make moves and move up in the field and potentially make some noise, you're gonna have to start farther back with your dominators, and you could even do Almirola and Bowman, and then just chalk it up the rest of the way, and you'll be looking really good. So it's just
I do want to add though, like Austin Cindric, we'll see when we talk betting. He's somebody that I have my eye on this week. Qualified ninth. He was great in practice. He had the second fastest time in practice. And he's been running good. He's been running better of late. Like he's been in more contention of top tens. He only has one over the last 6 races, but in 3 of the last 6, he's finished 12th or 13th. So it's not like he's finishing well beyond that top 10 spot. I mean, and if he stays in that range for the entire race, has a couple fastest laps, etc., for $7,400, you're probably going to get 30 to 35 points out of him, and that's pretty good value.
Yeah, and obviously has the ability to do even better than that. So I think that's a good shout as well. We'll dive into the 6K range, starting off with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., starting 26th. Our guy Chris Buescher, 20th. Keselowski qualified top 10.
Not doing it.
McDowell qualified 18th. Dinger, who won tonight.
Yeah, and he clinched the regular season championship again in the Xfinity.
Yeah, he's what they call a quad A player, where he's too good for AAA, but not quite good enough. He's the very Dallas McPherson or whoever you want to.
Hey, he's good on his certain tracks, though. He's the ringer at those road.
Oh, ringer. Yeah, we've rung him up a few times, and then Justin Haley at the 6K range. Are you interested in Dinger starting 13th, or is starting way too far forward, even with what he showed tonight?
The one thing I worry about with him is that, like, if he has one issue go wrong early on and say he gets pushed back to the rear of the field, like their car has not shown the ability to maneuver its way from the back towards the front again. So I mean, he would have to stay where he is pretty much the first 2 stages, and I just don't know if a guy that with his kind of driving style will survive that many laps at Bristol.
Yep. No, I think that makes sense. Especially trying to go through the field. There's going to be a couple big
going to be lapping cars.
He's going to get mixed up in it. Anybody else in this 6K range that you're really excited to pound the table for, or is it just, kind of fit in? You can McDowell makes sense. Buescher.
I was just going to say, Mickey D there. He does not have a great history at Bristol, but he's somebody who's been coming on strong at the latter part of the year. And again, Ford, like they looked pretty damn good.
Yep. Rounding out the rest of the field, Cole Custer popped up and got an 11th. So good job, Cole.
No chance.
Ty Dillon 34th, Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland. Any of these names that you're willing to squeeze into the back end if you're trying to save salary?
I don't think this is a race where we're going to be able to use a back marker like a BJ McLeod or of any kind, just because they are going to be lapped so many times that they're going to be driving in so much traffic. I don't know if this is the kind of race where we could rely on a McLeod to finish while running, and get
Yeah.
you that 20 points.
Yeah, even if they get if they're 6 laps down, they could still not be good enough to get
Yeah.
top 20 or whatever. So, okay, let's start it off. Let's make a lineup. Let's see if we can win all the money this week. Who is the first name that we need to pencil into our lineup?
Well, I think you should take the reins because I went first last week, so I'll let you take the most difficult spot here.
Do I go Dominator? I'm going to put in Kyle Larson. We both really liked him. I think he can win the race. I like him a lot this week, and I think it's going to push us to be a little different in terms of avoiding a lot of the higher price guys.
All right. On that note, I'm gonna stick to my words here. We're gonna add Joey Logano, and we're gonna go pretty hefty at the top. But
I love it.
I just think where he's starting is there's too much room for improvement there with him.
Yep. Do we go double Hendrick and throw our guy Alex Bowman in there? Or do we go Cindric, who could be fun? Or do we go Almirola?
Oh, I don't know how long Almirola is gonna last. That like he may not even lead the first lap of the race.
Yeah, fair. We'll put Cindric in. I think this is a good spot for him. I think starting 9th, he has the potential to move up, make some top 5 noise, and if he finishes 11th or 12th, has a few fastest laps, it won't absolutely murder us. So I like that. Right. And now we're about 7,500 per driver the rest of the way.
All right. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna do it again. We're going Ford heavy this week. Let's add Michael McDowell. Give us a little bit of salary savings. He's starting in the middle of the field. Maybe he can just maintain at that cost and get us, 20, 25 points.
Yeah, I like it. Man, I'm just trying to see. I kind of want to go crazy cheap so we can get up and get one of our
get another
favorites.
guy like a Byron,
like a Truex, even Chase Elliott. I know he didn't look good, but man, I'm just like you mentioned. I'm kind of worried. If we pencil one of these guys in, are they going to be able to stay with the pack and actually move forward, or are they just going to get lapped and now they're 6 laps down in the first stage and it's all downhill from here.
Yeah, I think that's the worry. But I mean, when you're looking at that range there, Cody Ware and JJ Yaley are definitely out. BJ McLeod out. I mean, he's probably running the most underfunded team in the Cup Series.
I think Gilliland or Harrison Burton.
That's exactly where I was thinking. It's one of those two guys.
Let's do Harrison. Let's see what happens. And that gives us 10-4, so we can pretty much put. I mean, I think the names that make sense are Truex or Byron.
I mean, we both really like, or I love Byron.
Let's do Byron
coming into the race. Like he's.
I got an outright on him. I got top 5 on him as my best bet. Clearly, I'm excited about him this week.
And he's woken up. And when he does this for multiple.
He strings them together, and then he strings his crappy races together. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's anything else that jumps out, but we'll leave the salary on the table. Another way to be unique. We'll save this lineup. We'll enter it in some contests, and we'll report back to you next week after the race. Let's flip over. Let's look at where the bet tracker is. Let's look at then we'll look at the updated odds, add to it as we see fit, give you a best bet for today, and then we will be out. If you are enjoying the show, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you are playing on DraftKings this week, let us know your favorite driver below 8K. Brian,
like
my betting card consists of William Byron 18-1, Martin Truex Jr. 16-1. I have a top 10 on Eric Jones at plus 180. I have a top 10 on Almirola at 210. I have Bowman over Wallace at plus 105. I have Chastain over Reddick at plus 105. I have Bubba over Christopher Bell at plus 205 just because of that number. Chastain over Logano at minus 110. And my best bet from Tuesday is William Byron to top 5 at 2-1.
Nice. Yeah, I lucked out with my two outrights, both getting decent value on Hamlin. He's still a race favorite. He's down like 5-1 at places. Blaney's moved, but not significantly. Eric Jones did put together the type of qualifying I expected, but it's still a better number than where it's reposted. Suarez looked like caca. Alex Bowman, he looked pretty good. Getting that plus money is looking absolutely fantastic right now, considering he's now down to like minus 160 everywhere. Blaney over Reddick, I still like that. Chastain over Reddick, we'll see. Battle of Chevys. I lost my Blaney to get the pole at 10-1. Shucks, we start the week 0-1. And I just recently added, prior to us jumping on here, because I didn't want it to disappear, William Byron to top 10 at plus money, and Austin Cindric to top 10 at even money as well over at DraftKings.
Those are nice numbers. All right, let's look at the odds and see where we're at. Let me adjust this really quick. Slide over right there. Okay. So yeah, as you mentioned, Hamlin is now plus 550, plus 500. A steep price to pay, but he's looked great. He runs well here and clearly the favorite. Right behind him, Kyle Larson, 5.5, 6.5, 7. Christopher Bell takes a nice little jump up and inside 10-1. Kyle Busch, floating around that 6-8. Kevin Harvick takes a big jump after obviously qualifying well, and Chase Elliott falls back as we start to approach the 10-1 range, I guess. Is there anyone here above Chase Elliott that you're interested in adding, that you would go back to the well if you haven't bet anything yet? Would you be considering betting any of these guys?
I mean, the Hamlin number at plus 550 to be the favorite, considering we've seen it on numerous occasions this year where the favorite, when the odds opened, dropped below 4-1 or like 3.5-1 after putting together a good qualifying run like Hamlin did. I think that's still a pretty good value on him if you love him. I mean, obviously I got him at 7-1, so I'm not going back to it. But Kyle Larson, 7-1. I think he's somebody that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, the number is getting steamed pretty short, but Christopher Bell has looked absolutely fantastic in these playoffs. And he is not somebody to glance over this weekend.
Yeah, especially if you can get like that 9-1 or even 8-1 at DraftKings, I'm good with that. I think anything below 8-1, I'm probably going to avoid on Christopher Bell, but I think that's fine. And yeah, I'm with you on Larson. I want at least 650, ideally 7, but I'm not touching the 550. That's just too short. I'm not touching Kyle Busch.
No.
Not just Chase Elliott. As we head into the double digits, we obviously have Ryan Blaney at 12-1. You got him at what, 15?
15, yeah. I mean, I still think that's a decent number.
Yeah, 12 is fine. It's not that big of a difference. I think it's worthwhile. Obviously, shop it, get the best of the number. If you can get that 14 at Bet Rivers, obviously jump on that. Logano, I'm kind of with you, is like kind of interesting. Has been incredibly fast. Obviously, qualifying didn't go ideal. But I think it's a really good number, and in fact, I'm going to add it to the card.
I was just going to say, this is really gross, but I'm going to add it. I mean, the number is right. He's somebody that's been a pain in my side pretty much for the last year or two. And if I like him and I don't bet it, I already know he's going to win. And
yeah, so if you could just not bet it and then I can bet it and get the win, that would be really nice.
We've talked about this before, but
and we talked about it, obviously starting outside the top 10 is not ideal.
Yeah.
It's not usually a place where people win from, but he's been so fast, and I think he's good enough here where he could make some serious noise. So I'm going to add it to the card and, probably end my outrights there with Byron, Truex, and Logano. Let's keep it rolling. Obviously, Eric Almirola's number is skyrocketed. I'm not touching it at this point.
No.
Ditto for Chase Briscoe. I'm fine going to Chastain, but he's just been so inconsistent and so frustrating. I just can't do it. My God. Do I need to double down? I think I do.
So I'm adding Byron at 30-1. That number is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm adding William. God, I didn't think we'd be here, but here we go. If I'm already on the card, if I'm gonna lose money, let's lose some money.
Yeah, and it's something to note with Byron and his starting position. So he's started the last 3 Bristol races in 13th, 15th, and 14th, and he finished 8th. He was running inside the top 10 the second race until being crashed out, and he finished 3rd, like I had mentioned last season. So it's not like he can't overcome that starting position. And then when you look at the past history at this track, I know starting position inside the top 5 is extremely crucial. But when you look at 2 of the previous, I think it's like 9 race winners, Kyle Busch, both times, he had started 17th and 18th. And Byron is starting right in that range as somebody who could potentially pop and win the race. So 30-1 odds for a guy that's driving as good as he is right now. Like that's a great number.
Yep, I added Truex again too for 28.
Oh no.
I'm a glutton for punishment. I'll probably hate myself at the end of the day, but you know what? No, I'm not going to. I am not going to. Instead, I'm going to add Austin Cindric.
Ooh, I like that. Get a little more exposure.
33-1, thanks to our friends over at PointsBet. A little bit better of a number, starting a little bit closer. Have a little more optimism. I think he makes sense. So I added Cindric 30-1, or Cindric 33-1 for half a unit, and Byron 30-1 for half a unit. And then I think I
think that's the end of the outright board for me.
End of the outright board. Let's throw this and let's look at top 10 and see if we can't find some value there, because I feel like we will. I'm adding, well, obviously I have William Byron top 5 as my best bet, so I'm going to add William Byron to top 10 at plus 100, because why not?
that number seems way off. Like I've double checked it, by the way. I've gone to DraftKings multiple times tonight to make sure that is the correct number, and they have it posted at even money. I don't understand the
especially
odds
with Truex at like minus 110, minus 118, and he's starting behind Byron.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't. Maybe it's an accumulative effect of how poorly Chevrolets looked.
Who knows? But I'm a glutton for punishment. I have a top 5. I have 2 outrights. I'm gonna take the top 10, and see if I can't salvage something. I'm also gonna take. Is this plus 210 on Cedric?
Wait a second. Yeah, let me go to that, because if that is posted, that is being added everywhere.
As our resident FanDuel Sportsbook advisor, I want to make sure that is available, because if not, I'll just grab the plus 135 or whatever. But it looks like Bet Rivers might have it up too.
If that is the number, we're
doing this several hours after qualifying, so it should be up to date, but Action Network's not.
That's ridiculous. Austin Cindric top 10 plus 210 at FanDuel.
Sign me up.
So my DraftKings one, I'm canceling the bet. Sorry, this is not a real sports book. So
take the best of the number.
Yeah, I'm getting out of that, but that is ridiculous. And by the way, they have William Byron posted at minus 185.
Like the one thing that I've noticed, especially when it comes to top 10s, top 5s, even head-to-heads, is each book is so wildly different because of the money that they're taking or not taking on certain drivers.
Yeah,
so if you have a feeling that one guy is going to be really good, shop the best number and get yourself some value, because
if multiple sports books are available to you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're like Brian and I, you just don't have access, well, then that's, you take what you can get. But if you have options of at least 2 or 3 books, which most people, Midwest, East Coast, should have at least 2 options, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Find yourself a good number, and hammer that, because my God, like BetMGM has Suarez at plus 110, but DraftKings has it plus 350.
Yeah.
Like there's money to be made in the arbitrage market. Look at where the market is. Look for the book that doesn't make sense. Grab the best of the number and figure it out later. Any of these other wild cards that you really want to get down, like Michael McDowell 8-1 to top 10.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna take that. I'm only putting a quarter unit on, but I'm gonna take it.
Didn't you already add that last week? Or no? Yeah. That was
probably
for last
week.
race. You had that.
Yeah. What can I say? I mean, if you're gonna give me 8-1, I'm gonna take it. Like,
I mean, even
obviously he shouldn't be like. I'm not saying he should be like 2-1 like Cindric, but like
yeah.
plus 350 seems pretty reasonable. And you're
Yeah.
giving me 8-1.
I mean, as disgusting as it sounds too, like even Keselowski, like Ford's looked incredible. I don't.
Yeah. FanDuel's gonna hang a 3-1. Grab it.
The Cole Custer number, that to me is just taking the value. He qualified 11th. Who knows? Maybe he surprises even me. Like, that's ridiculous. I know we did this last week with it was with McDowell and somebody else.
And Almirola.
And who was it? Was it Almirola? Yeah. And
they reposted him at like 850 and 950, and we fell right for the trap, and here we go again. But I think, the odds of that happening versus the odds that the number says that it should happen are not the same. Obviously he's not going to hit top 10 every race. Obviously he's not going to hit top 10 half the time, but he's going to top 10 more than the 8-1 or the 9.5-1 suggests. So I'm fine taking those numbers. And once again, we're not betting the same amount on a Austin Cindric plus 210 as we are on a Cole Custer top 10 at 950.
No.
So
that's
adjust your units accordingly.
Salt Bay guy, whatever it is, you're like little sprinkle.
Let's find matchups and see what we can get. Man, Chastain over Logano was minus 110. Now it's plus 115. I'm not going to double book it. I'm good. Elliott over Hamlin.
Ooh.
Harvick over Bell.
Yeah, that's
spicy.
I think I'm going to do that because of what I said. Like, hearing Bell talk about that he could be a little more aggressive. I have a feeling this is a race where he winds up a lap down or he makes a move that costs him positions, whereas Kevin Harvick is going to have to be steady Eddie early on just to get.
And I think if you have some bets on Christopher Bell already, and you want to kind of find a way to hedge a little bit against it, that's a good way to do it, where you're and you can still, Harvick could get 6th and Bell could get 7th, and you're cashing your top 10 and you're winning the head to head. So there's some opportunities there for sure. Larson over Kyle Busch makes sense.
Larson over Elliott at minus 105 also makes sense. It starting like 20 spots ahead of him.
Yeah, what are we doing?
What kind of number are they posting here?
Shop it. I'm adding Larson over Elliott. I am ready to be hurt again.
Like, Larson won this race last year. Like, what the hell are we doing?
What are we doing? We're going to come back and look at our card, and it's just going to be red and be like, what the hell were we doing?
He finished second in both 2018 races. So he's obviously really good at this track in previous years. I know he hasn't been great this season, but
Bowman over Bubba is still plus 105 at DK, which
I think that's a good value. Honestly, I love Bubba, but
that's tremendous value. Well, that's interesting. You can get Ross at BetMGM at minus 105, and then you can get Tyler Reddick at DK at minus 105.
Yeah, but there's no. You can't do what I did with the Austin wagers.
No, the Battle of the Austins, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity that we took
Yeah,
advantage of.
that was a max bet on either side, Oppo.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we, you want to look at Top Chevy or anything before we dive into our best
Yeah,
bet?
I did want to take a look at what kind of weird offerings DraftKings have, because they always have some of the most interesting little things going.
Let's go to race lines and constructor and
Let's check it out here.
weren't we talking about the Fords looking like the best option? And
Yeah, the Fords looked incredible.
Ford
That's why I
at
feel.
Ford at 2-1 to be the winning manufacturer
Oh, dude,
with Toyota
that's
and Chevy
crazy.
priced ahead of them.
I think the only issue with that though is that even though Fords look great,
Look who you're betting on,
honestly
though.
for me, they probably have 3, maybe 4 legit contenders to win the race. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I'm going to throw Briscoe out the window.
I think it's Harvick, Blaney, Logano, and Cindric.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think
Cindric at
those are
11-1 to be the top Ford is kind of nice. Like he could get like a top 3 or 4, and you could cash that.
Yeah,
As a matter
yeah.
of fact, I'm going to add that. My God, this card is massive.
This is ridiculous. Oh, so on that same 11-1 number, if you go up to Chevrolets, William Byron at 11-1, that's finding its way on my card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think you draw a line right here, and like most of these people are eliminated, but I think Byron makes sense. I think Bowman and Byron, like I know Bowman's starting third and Byron's starting like 15th or something, but
Yeah.
relative to where they are expected to finish, I think they're pretty similar. So
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Bowman to be 550 is kind of crazy.
And honestly, like I know Tyler Reddick has popped a couple of times this year. I mean, he's got 2 wins. He's looked really good, but
Yeah.
I would not consider him to be a bigger favorite to finish at the top of the manufacturer than a William Byron. Like I personally, I would think that William Byron have a better shot just driving for Hendrick alone.
100%. Logano at 5-1 to be top Ford is pretty nice too.
Honestly, I'm already too exposed to him. I would prefer to pay up and go.
You got too much Joey
Blaney at that
Logano in
point.
your life already. You don't need any more.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I think that's good. Let's head back to the card. Let's look at the madness that is ensued. We have William Byron at 18-1. We have William Byron at 30-1.
Oh my God.
We have Martin Truex at 16-1. We have Austin Cindric at 33-1, which is a number.
Brilliant decision, by the way, to not piggyback with another Martin.
Yeah. Divide and conquer is what they say. Logano at 15-1. I somehow went from having 2 outrights to 5 outrights. So RIP my betting card. Eric Jones top 10, Almirola top 10, Bowman over Wallace, Chastain over Reddick, Bubba over Christopher Bell, Chastain over Logano. My best bet from Wednesday, Willie B top 5 2-1. Added the Willie B top 10 because why not? Austin Cindric top 10 210. Thank you DraftKings. McDowell at 8-1, Cole Custer at 9.5-1. Just putting a little bit on that just to feel alive. Larson over Elliott -105, and then a little taste of Austin Cindric to be the top Ford at 11-1. Go ahead and break down your card, Brian, for the fine folks, and give me a best bet.
All right, so we're gonna go back to the outrights again. I got Hamlin at 7-1 earlier in the week. Ryan Blaney 15-1. Added Joey Logano also at 15-1. It's leaving a sour taste in my mouth already. William Byron 30-1. The outright here, that's ridiculous. Eric Jones at that top 10 number is still pretty good value. Daniel Suarez 155. That's not looking very good at this moment. Alex Bowman, the top 10 at plus 105. I'm glad I added that earlier in the week. My best bet from earlier in the week was Blaney over Reddick, which it looks okay right now. We'll see how we go on Sunday, but I got a good idea that Blaney winds up winning the race this weekend. Chastain over Reddick. I guess it was fade Reddick week for me. Ryan Blaney on the pole. That one I already lost. I had to adjust that. And then William Byron in top 10 at even money is ridiculous. Cindric at plus 210 at top 10 is even more ridiculous. And then I'm going with Harvick over Bell just for the narrative of Harvick needing this while Bell may take some unnecessary risks. And then Byron the top Chevy, continuing the William Byron love this week at 11-1.
I like it.
Going to my best bet, cannot believe that they posted this number. William Byron at top 10 at even money. This one is crazy for me. I'm going to go a full 5-unit play on this. I feel fairly confident that he can work his way only a few spots, 5 or 6 spots. To
I like 10. It. I like it a lot. Well, the Austin Cindric number is incredibly compelling, and I want to double, triple, quadruple count it. My favorite bet as we sit here today is Kyle Larson over Chase Elliott at minus 105. I don't know what we're doing with these odds. Maybe I'll hate myself on the end of the race on Saturday night, but full 5 units, Larson over Elliott minus 105. Kyle Larson, I think, will run really well, have a very good chance to win the race. I just need him to stay in front of Chase. That's all I need, buddy.
One thing I do want to say before we get out of here is, how many times do you think that we've gone to this particular matchup and bet the guy with the longer odds and not won?
That would be a good question. I feel like when we bet we bet the guy who's the discount, we tend to do better. But that would be a good, fun end of season thing to look up at some of that stuff, because
we'll definitely break down the cards for bet types.
I want to look at our trends and look at some of the stuff and look at if we keep falling for the same trap, Alex Bowman, and finding a way to survive. But thank you so much to everybody who made it this far. If you are still watching, make sure you are subscribed. We're still working to 500 subs. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Let us know your best bet or your favorite driver below 8K. Enjoy the race. We will be back next week to recap all of the madness, update our betting card, and get you set for another week in the NASCAR playoffs. That is Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. We'll talk to you.